Well, another Christmas has come and gone, hasn't it? All the preparation, the craziness, and the decorations. Some of the decorations are still around, but it's gone, isn't it? It's gone. Gotta wait till next year. How many shopping days left? But it's gone. I love Christmas, and I don't know about you, it's one of my favorite times of year. It really is. I just like the festivities, I like the family, and it's not the same as when my children were small, of course, because there's just some excitement, right, about children coming down, small children coming down and charging that tree and seeing what Santa's left them and the expressions on their faces, just the pure joy. You can hear it in their voice, you can see it in their faces. Isn't that right? I mean, and as grandchildren, it's exciting to watch grandchildren as well, but it's just whether it's your child or even somebody else's child, there's some excitement there. It just seems to be missing as you get older, but yet you can see it in young children, right? And I always enjoyed that in my house. And as my girls got older, it's kind of probably like most of your children got older, you get that question. You know that $1 million question. Is Santa real? How many of you have ever been asked that? I'm going to tell you, my answer to my children was quite simple. It was the same answer that was given to me. If you believe, receive. We had a lot of believers in my house. I can just tell you right now. So today the question is very similar that I want to ask you. I want to talk to you about is what is it that you believe? No, not about Santa. No, we're not going to talk about that. But what do you believe? You see, it's the beginning of a new year, 2017. And I believe what you believe has a lot to do with how your year is going to go and how actually your life here and hereafter goes. Is really based about what you believe. So the question is, what do you believe? You say, well, that's kind of deep, isn't it? That's kind of, you start off the first of the year, it's kind of deep. Well, there's only two ways to get in the water. You can wade in or jump in. I'm a jumper. If you want to find out how cold the water is, jump in. You don't wade in. You'll get out before you get knee deep, right? But at the heart of who we are, what we're about, where we're going, is what we believe. I truly believe that. I believe that what you believe about yourself and about others and about your life purpose and about God has a lot to do with how you live out your life. And as we approach a new year to live out, and by the way, you were all gifted with this day, beginning of 2017, not everybody made it. Congratulations, you made it. Give yourself a round of applause. Yeah, you did. Some of us might not be here in 18. I might not be here in 18. But what are we going to do with 17? How are we going to live that out? Maybe we should look at that, and maybe we should look at the root and see what it is that we believe, what we believe, not only about God, but what do we believe? Let's start with something simple. What do you believe about yourself? You see, I believe what you believe about yourself is more important than who you are or what you have. What you believe about yourself reaches down into your inside, the core of who you are, the person that you are. I believe it directs how you treat life and how you treat others, is what you believe about yourself. It's a very good place to start. Let me give you an example of how and you'll see, you say, can't we just have the Santa question? That was a lot easier, right? Santa, no, we're going to dig deep today. So here we are. Let me explain to you why I say that. There was a man who worked for the railroad, and one day he found himself locked in a refrigeration car. And the crews, it was the end of the day, and the crews were going home. And he pounded on the door and pounded and yelled and screamed, trying to get their attention. But he couldn't get anybody's attention, and they left him for the night. Locked in this refrigeration car. And he knew that unless he could find a way out, that his fate was sealed. That he would surely freeze to death by morning. And that he looked for every avenue of escape, and he could find none. And soon despair took over, and he just knew he was just getting colder by the minute. And that he was going to freeze to death. And he found a little piece of a knife, a tip that had broken, and he started to carve in the wood floor, leaving a message. He said, I know these may be my final words. My body's getting numb. I'm getting cold, and if something doesn't happen, my life is over. And they found him that way the next morning. And opening the door, they found him there, and with all appearance, it appeared that he had froze to death. But the strange thing was, the car that he had been locked in was inoperable. In other words, the refrigeration wasn't working. But even though he died of what appeared to be exposure to the cold, it never dropped below 55 degrees in that car. What killed him wasn't the exterior cold. What killed him was the inner belief that he was freezing to death. That's how powerful what you believe is. That's how powerful it can be. You see, it's not about what's happening to you on the outside. It's about what's happening to you here, inside. So you can have all the money in the world. Howard Hughes was a billionaire, right? But locked himself away out of fear into lonely, dark places, right? John Belushi made millions of people laugh, but still felt necessary to shoot up with drugs to escape the sadness he felt inside, right? It's not about what's happening out here, it's about what's happening in here, right? Elvis Presley, probably one of the most popular singers of all time, right? Had everything, right? Yet he had to take drugs to escape the pain. Not what's happening out here. What's happening in here. So you see what I'm saying is what you believe inside is a lot more powerful than the things that are happening to you on the outside. More powerful than whether you have money or you have a title. I know a lot of people with fancy titles who are miserable inside. Simply miserable. I know a lot of people with money who are simply miserable. They have a different set of problems. You don't see him say, oh, I wish I was that guy. Look at all he has. Look at that fancy car. Look at that big house. Those big houses have problems too. Those fancy cars break down too. Life's not always what it seems, is it? No. But it's not all bad. You can believe in good as well. You can be positive in what you think, not just the negatives. You know, I don't know if some of you may remember because it was an older congregation, but Adolph Rupp was a Kentucky coach years ago, a very successful basketball coach. And he won at one time, well, he won more games at one point than anybody, but he boasted one time at a news conference that I can make any player an All-American. And one of the reporters took him up on it and said, I bet you can. And that year he had a freshman by the name of Cotton Nash. Blonde hair, blue eye, freshman, but not much on ability. And he decided he was going to make him, he said, okay, I'll tell you what, I'll make him an All-American. And so everywhere he went to, in his news conferences, and anybody he was speaking to, he'd say, have you seen my All-American? Cotton Nash. And he always referred to him as his All-American. And not only did he make a believer of other people, he made a believer of Cotton Nash. Would it surprise you to know that Cotton Nash was an All-American? Not once, not twice, but 3 years in a row. You see, some of the things that we believe about ourselves dictate actually who we are and who we will become and what we'll be able to accomplish. So oftentimes, we beat ourselves up over things that have happened so long ago. I could be great if it wasn't for, I could have done this if it wasn't for this. I could sing if I only had a voice, right? And there's always something holding us back, right? There's always something that I call the adversary speaking into our lives. Because what he's doing is he's placing that doubt, he's placing that fear into your life. He's saying, you know, you could do this, but you probably should, because you know, this, or you're not the best speaker. Okay. You're not the best looking. You might not want to be up in front of people. You don't have the most hair. Any of those things. Things that tend to hold people back. Insecurities that we speak into our own lives sometimes. Sometimes they've been put there by other people, but sometimes we reinforce them and we believe them. So I want to ask you, what do you believe about yourself? You see, because you can believe good or you can believe bad. You can say, I'm a nobody, I'm a failure, I don't, nothing I do is right. I very rarely get things right. You can believe bad things about yourself, or you can believe, I'm a good person. You can believe what God believes. So you can take off your glasses, put on God's glasses. Although, because He recognizes you as an unfinished product, He recognizes you as a work in progress. Because aren't we all, amen? Works in progress. Everybody's getting better every day, right? I know I am. I can't wait to see the finished product. It's going to be some good stuff. But we're all works in progress. God's working on us all every day. We all have frailties, right? We all have imperfections. Some of them are surface. Some of them are deep. Some of them are cracks. Some of them are breaks. So they come in all shapes and sizes. None of us are perfect. I think we'd all admit that. We might reluctantly, like, I'm really close, but okay. But none of us are perfect. But God sees you as uniquely made. He didn't look around you. You see anybody who looks just like you here? No? Outside, I'm seeing anybody who look close. The two sisters are probably the closest. But beyond that, we don't look the same, do we? God made us all unique. And He gave us all unique talents. And some of us can sing. Some of us can play the harp. Some of us can play the piano. And some of us can build cabinets. And all kinds of things. Right? All different gifts. Some of us teach Sunday school. Some of us do amazing cooking. I can vouch for that. Y'all fantastic cooks here. Everybody's got a gift. Everybody has got a gift that's uniquely you. And God's given it to you. Because like Pam demonstrated earlier, we're all a piece of that puzzle that makes up the church, makes up the body of Christ. And God needs all the pieces. Right? He didn't make junk pieces. He didn't make extra pieces. He made all the pieces. Right? You're all needed. You're all loved. You're all loved uniquely because none of you are the same. None of you come with the same frailties. None of you come with the same positives or the negatives. You're all unique, and so you're loved uniquely by a God who created you and knew you in your mother's womb. Remember this. God does not make junk. So when someone tries to put you down or tell you you're not worthy or to tell you you're less than, say, no, 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 no. My God says I'm more than. I am enough. I am a conqueror. He's working in me, through me, each and every day. And I may not be where I need to be, but I'm getting there. And I'm working on it. But regardless of wherever I sit, wherever I stand, whatever I do, I am loved. Say that with me. I am loved. I am loved. Now believe that in your heart. Because you are. You're loved by your Creator. And that's what you need to believe about yourself. I'm not perfect, but I'm getting there. I'm not the greatest, but I'm really close. Right? Whatever it takes to put a smile on your face and for you to feel good and confident enough to go out and do the work of God. See, because you can't go out and do the work of God if you feel bad about yourself. Oh, it's a terrible day. You want to worship with me? No, I don't want to worship with you. I want to find a God that makes me happy. Maybe a God that makes me feel bad about myself. That's not God's intention. God's intention was to reconcile you to Himself, to build you up, and to build on that relationship. So you see, who we believe about ourselves affects how we present to other people. Amen? Y'all with me so far? We're good? Haven't lost anybody? We're all good? This brings us to the second part. What do you feel about other people? What is it you believe about other people? Are they worth saving? Yes. Yes, because what we say, God doesn't make any. So that means there's no throwaways, right? So even the worst of the worst is worth saving. It's worth God's time, it's worth God's Son on the cross, and it's worth your time. Somebody say amen. 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 So everybody's worth saving because everybody has a value. God doesn't make junk. Everybody. The good, the bad, and the ugly. See, there's a place in there for me. God doesn't make junk. So we need to view other people as treasures, just as God views you as a treasure. Right? Whether they're sitting in the street, they're homeless, or whether they live in a mansion on a hill. They're people. They're humanity. They have value. Everyone has value. Everyone has something to offer. Sometimes they don't even know it. Sometimes you got to help them find it. Everybody has value. We can't go through life just sitting there thinking, you know, kind of like a t-shirt. The more I meet, the more I'm around humans, the more I like my dog. You see that t-shirt? So, you know, we can't, excuse me, we can't go through life like that. We can't look at other people as an inconvenience. We need to look at them as our mission, because that's what God's brought us to, is a mission. So we need to see the world in a bigger picture than just the little bubble that we call ourselves. Right? We're good, they're good. But where's all this going? The most important thing is not, although it's important, what you believe about yourself and what you believe about others. The most important thing is, what do you believe about God? I know, we're getting deep now, aren't we? What do you really believe about God? What is God to you? That's my ticket. That's my get out of hell ticket. I get that thing punched, I'm good. Yeah. Is that what God is to you? Is He your Lord and your Savior? Is He your great provider, your great healer? What is God to you? I mean, and oftentimes we don't think about that. What is God to us? What have you experienced with God? You see, because you're really not, God, you know, people, relationships aren't something until you've experienced something, right? In many ways. You have to grow relationships. You just don't like, you know, we just don't, I don't just walk in, best friends, me and you. We're just best friends. I don't even know you, right? That doesn't happen that way, does it? No. You got to develop best friends, don't you? That takes time. That takes some smiles and some tears, right? Best friends don't come without smiles and tears. They don't. Because you'll never know if they're your best friend until they've been with you in the smiles and they've been with you in the tears. Those are best friends, right? That comes from what? Life experiences. So, what is God to you? What have you experienced Him? Is He just your one day I went forward at church on the Sunday and I got saved and that's it, I'm good. Finished. Final chapter. Written. That's as far as my relationship's ever gotten. I hope not, because you've missed a lot if you have, but it's not too late. You see, because God is so much more than that. He is, yes, your great provider. He will provide for you. He tells us in the Bible He'll provide for us. What we need, not necessarily what we want, but what we need, right? He is a great healer. He is a conqueror. He is a redeemer. He's your best friend. He's your father. What's your relationship with Him? How do you see Him? How do you see God? Is He something that I come to worship on Sundays? Is He someone I talk to every day? Is He something that I long to be nearer to know more about? Do I read the Bible daily? Where's your relationship with God? What do you believe about your relationship with God? And that's something we all need to check from time to time and see, are we where we need to be? And sometimes we are, and sometimes we're not. Let's just be real. Sometimes we drift a little, right? Sometimes we get off course. We need that GPS thing, recalculate. You need to get back on course. You need to get back into your Bible study. You need to start coming to Sunday school. You need to start coming to church more often. You need, whatever it is you need to start praying more often. Maybe, I'm praying once a day. Maybe you need to pray twice a day. I don't know. You talk to God about it. See what you need. But that's something you and God need to get straight. Now, what do you believe? Because how can you present to the world, how can you go out to those non-believers, those places of darkness, those places where people don't know God, and how can you explain God to them if you don't know God yourself? If you just come up and say, okay, here are 2 free tickets out of hell. You just say this and you get out of hell, and that's all you know about God, you're shortchanging them of a wonderful experience. You need to know God. You need to know what you believe. Someone says, what do you believe? What do you believe baptism is? Well, yeah, it's water. You can sprinkle, it's water. You get baptized. Get baptized, right? Get baptized. Oh, baptized. What's communion? Oh, you know, we do that every Sunday. Preacher says a few things. We eat bread, communion. Right? What do you believe? You know, those are the type of things they ask you in seminary. What do you believe? What is it? Tell me what this is. What does this mean? What does this mean? And you have to kind of defend it. So it makes you think about it. Defending is nothing more than thinking about why do you believe what you believe? And why do you believe what you believe? You see, I believe, I'm just going to share my belief. I believe that God made me just as imperfect as He could. So the better I get, people can see His works in me. I believe my mission in life, what I'm here for, is to reach out and touch people and point them towards God. That's my mission. That's what I'm supposed to do. Every day. Every day. Not just in the pulpit. Every day. Wherever I'm at. That's my job. That's what I'm here for. To glorify God. Everything that I do, in word and action, glorifies God. You know what? Some days I'm real successful. Some days I fall flat on my face. And I pick myself up and I say, hey, I'm going to try again, God. I'm going to get better. I'm going to get better. I need to get closer to you. I need to learn more. Because sometimes we're going to fail. Right? And it's okay. Because you've tried. Because you're trying and God recognizes that you're trying. That's what He wants you to do. Don't just wait for life to pass you by. Get out there and try. This is 2017. What happened to 16 and 15? Man, they flew by. And man, they get faster. You girls are going to know this. They get fast. They're coming up. You've been slow. They're going to get really fast. And the older you get, the faster they go. And just like you blink and another birthday, pow, there's Christmas. Wow, we're in New York. And they're gone. So what are you going to contribute? What's your life's contribution? What are you going to remember? I don't know about you, but I started thinking about these things in the last few years. It's like, you know, when I'm gone, what are they going to say about me? Did I have any effect on anybody's life that was positive? Did I do anything good? Did I make a difference in somebody's life? Because those are things that are important to me. Did I point anybody to God? Did someone get to know God a little bit better because of me? I hope so. Did I live a life that pointed to God? Did I glorify God? Because, you know, God's all in with us, and He wants us to be all in with Him, right? He's a God that will give us all the days of our lives. All that we need, the words, the message, the song, whatever it is that He needs to fulfill His mission through us. There's a story, it's a children's story. It was written back in the 60s. That's a long time ago. Right? Some of you may have still been children in the 60s. It was in New York, Harper Road. It was 1964. I'm going to read it. It's real short. I'm going to read it to you. It says, you may have heard it. It's called The Giving Tree. You ever heard it? Giving Tree? This story is about a little boy, and in his younger years he played hide and seek. It's about a boy, let's see, the story is about a tree that loved a little boy. In his younger years, they played hide and seek. In the carefree childhood days, the boys ate the tree's fruits and swung on the branches and slept in their shade, and the tree was happy. And the boy grew, however, he had less time for the tree. He did return once as a young man, but he wasn't interested in swinging on the tree's branches now. He was interested in only one thing, money. The tree had a great idea. Take my apples, sell them. She said, the young man did. The tree was happy. A long time passed before the young man came by again. When he did, he was not interested in play. He wanted to build himself a house. Take my branches, cried the tree, and build your house. He did, and the tree was happy. More years passed. Now the young man was growing older. He was tired of his surroundings, and he wanted to see the world. When he expressed his weary yearning to the tree, she explained, cut me down, take my trunk, and make yourself a boat. Then you can sail away. And that's what he did. The tree was happy. Many more years passed. The old man returns, too old, too tired to swing from branches, to pursue great riches, to build houses or boats. He says to the tree says to the old man, I have a pretty good stump left, my friend. Why don't you just sit down here and rest? He did. The tree was happy. You see, it's a little children's story, but I think it speaks to the love that God has for us through Jesus Christ. That he was willing to give it all. He gave his fruits, he gave the branches, he gave the trunk. He gave it all, didn't he? Because he wants us to be successful. God is there for you all the time. Sometimes we don't recognize it. Sometimes we go through hurts and we go through pains. And we feel like God's abandoned us. But I'm here to tell you, he never abandons you. He never leaves you. That he's there for all eternity for you. That's his promise. In John 3:16 says, God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whoever believes. There's that word again, isn't it? Believes. Whoever believes in him is not going to perish. You know, I think that's that absolute answer to life, is believing. Believing in yourself and believing in your fellow man. Believing in the possibility of good over evil. Believing in Jesus Christ, most importantly. That God so loved each of you by name that he sent his Son to make that ultimate sacrifice on a tree. So that you could have eternal life. That's what I believe. But what do you believe? That's the question. And I hope as you leave here to do a little soul search, and you'll look inside yourself and say, do I believe? And if that's what I believe, do I live that out daily? Because see, that's what we're called to do. That's our purpose. As Christians, we're called to make a difference. But we can't make a difference if we don't know what we believe. If we don't know who we are and whose we are. If we're not confident and have confidence in everlasting life through Jesus Christ, if we don't know that in our lives, if we haven't experienced God's love, how can we reflect it out to the world? But for us to experience it, we have to open up our own hearts and our own minds to the possibilities. See, I believe in Jesus Christ, and I believe that all things are possible through him. I truly do. It doesn't mean I'll always get my wants and all my wishes, but I always get what I need. And I always know that I'm loved by an awesome God. And I know that he is all those things I mentioned and so much more. He is the King of Kings, the Lord of Lords, the Prince of Peace. He is more than a conqueror. And so shall you be. But you need to believe. So the question is today, what is it you believe? Reconcile yourself to your beliefs. If you don't think positive things about yourself, get off that track. Hit another track, because you are not junk. Furthermore, your fellow man is not junk. God doesn't make junk. All are worth redeeming. We have a lot of work to do in 2017. The world's a dark place. We are that light. We are the reflection of that light that shines brightly into our hearts. Let us go out there and proclaim what we know to be true, what it is that we believe. You know, St. Francis of Assisi said, preach the gospel at all times. And when necessary, use words. And all God's people said, Amen.